Hello everyone, here's my project for ENME 351. As you can see, there's an Arduino ultrasonic sensor which uses a trig and echo pin that are connected to the Arduino. The trig sends out the high frequency pulse based on my Arduino code, but it sends out a high frequency pulse. The echo will receive it as an input. Based on how far away the object is, it can tell based off if there's a solid object or not, the distance it is. And I converted that distance into centimeters by dividing it by 52.8 in my Arduino code. And when a solid object goes in less than 25 centimeters in front of that sensor, servo motor over here will activate, releasing water from the Brita filter. But obviously I'm not using water as I do not want to destroy any of the electronics. And the Brita is actually pretty old and moldy, and I figured it would be unsafe. But as you can see here in a second, that if I put the object in front of the sensor, it will go in front. If I take it off, it'll come back, and you can see that the water will come out of it from that. And here I'll go ahead and show what happens with my processing part of this project. So it'll start out with an empty glass of water right there, go in front of it, it'll fill up, down. If you take it off, put it back in front of it. Processing takes a while, but it'll fill all the way up again and then stay filled up, and then a smiley face will pop up and then it'll defill up. Smiley face, but processing glitches out. I can't figure out why, but maybe it's because the distances, my hand's obviously not in front of the sensor anymore, but they still are just glitching out. But in a second here, they'll go back to normal and the glass will empty. Give it a second. I think it's just processing, just being really slow. I can't figure out why. As you can see, the distances are still less, but nothing's in front of the sensor. And there it goes back down. So that's just the processing glitching out. I can't really tell why. As you can see, the distances are less than 25, but nothing's in front of the sensor. And the serial output of the Arduino is not like that, so I can't figure out why it is not doing it exactly right, but I'm just contributing it to the processing being faulty and glitchy. But here I'll go ahead and show my Arduino code first. So at the top here, I'm just defining my pins, etc. Definitions. Boolean hand present. Boolean was hand present is to determine if there's been water in before it or if it's a brand new pour. Servo position equals 90 is for the function at the bottom. I'll show you in a second. Just defining outputs, inputs. Serial.begin 9600 baud rate as the same as processing. Here is in my loop is what I'm doing to control the inputs on the ultrasonic sensor as it sends alternates between high and low for the trig pin to get an echo pin back. And then as you can see right there, I'm getting the distance by dividing the duration of the difference in the trig and echo divided by 58.2 and then serial printing that to the monitor. Here is in the code where if the distance is less than 25, servo motor will activate and put the water out. At the bottom, my function in which I actually move the servo, and those delays are for, there's just the certain frequencies of the servo motor to get to activate correctly, as 20,000 microseconds or 20,000 milliseconds is the correct cycle for the servo motor. And then in the processing part of my code, just defining variables, drawing the background, getting the port correct to get the information, loading in an image smiley face from the internet. I pretty much, throughout this, here's where I'm getting the data from the serial monitor, the distance as it comes in, even though it's slow, then it'll fill 0.35 pixels at a time. Yeah, and then that's pretty much it.